It is race day, time for the Leiden Marathon, the marathon that I've been training for to see if I can get a Boston qualifying time. It is 9 in the morning, it is 15 degrees. They say it's supposed to be around 21, 22 degrees at 10 when we start. It's gonna be a hot day. Now today is a little bit different than other races, seeing that I normally always film my marathons. Today I'm going for speed. So yeah, I brought my phone so I can film a little bit with my phone, but I'm not going to be filming during the race. So yeah, hopefully that'll make a big difference in my speed. I'm a little bit nervous about the heat though today. I've trained, I'm ready to run my race and to run the pace that I need to run. But the weather, the heat is might be a problem. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. But yeah, we're gonna give it our best shot and see how it goes.
And that was about all that I filmed during the marathon. I planned to do a little recap after the race, but I was just too exhausted, and I figured I'd wait a few days before I make a recap video. It was an exhausting race. It was so tough with that hot weather. It went up to 25 degrees Celsius as they predicted, and people were collapsing on the course left and right. After I got to about 7K into the race, I heard the first ambulance, and after that it was just one ambulance after the other. The entire race there were sirens going off everywhere. A couple times we had to get out of the way because the ambulance was going across the course. It was crazy. It made headlines everywhere. I got messages from everybody, "Are you okay?" Because it was like being in a disaster area. People were sending me messages to check if I was okay because there were so many people just passing out and collapsing on the ground. So obviously this wasn't the day for me to try and get a Boston qualifying time. I gave it my best shot. I thought at the beginning I'd stick to the plan that I had, which was to try and get a little bit above the pace that I needed to run so that I could build up a little bit of a buffer. Now, not just because of the fatigue that would hit in during the race, but this time also because of the weather, because the later into the race, the hotter it would get. So I figured, yeah, if I get most of my distance in before noon, then yeah, I'd have a shot to still get there within the 3 hours and 20 minutes that I planned to run it. But it was just too tough. The first 5K, it went fine. When I started the race, I started in Corral B. I was all the way in the front, and in the back of Corral A, there were the pacers for 3 hours and 15 minutes. So when we started running, I caught up with them fairly quickly. I passed them, and I figured with them behind me, I'll be in a safe spot, so I'll know when they do pass me, I have to either stick with them or yeah, just a little bit behind them to still stay on course for the 320. And they were fine for a long time because the 5K I did a good time. 10K I came in just under 45 minutes, I think. Then it got a little tougher. After that, it was just too hot. When I got to 15K, I needed to take a little walking break. I just needed to cool off a little bit, needed to catch my breath, get my heart rate down a little bit. So once I got to a water stop, took a little bit of a walking break, started running again. Still, I was doing good on my pace, even till the half marathon point. The average was still under 4.5 minutes. So by then I still had in my mind that if I could keep going, I might be able to get there, but it was getting tougher every kilometer, and it just got hotter and hotter. And eventually around 25K, 26K, the 3 hour and 15-minute pace group passed me. I also just felt so hot. I couldn't keep up with them. I needed to take those little walk breaks once in a while. And Yeah, I knew at that point that there was just no way for me to keep going at the pace that I needed to run. I had slowed down. I used up the buffer that I built up from the beginning of the race, and there was just no way for me to get there in the time that I needed to for the Boston qualifying time. I still figured, yeah, I'm not going to give up. When I signed up for the race, I figured it's not a marathon that I really want to run. I'm just running it because, yeah, I want to qualify for Boston. Uh, so I figured if I'm not ready, I'm just not going to run it. If somewhere halfway down the race, I know that I can't make it, I can just quit. Um, then yeah, I got too invested in the race, so yeah, I had to run the race. I wanted to run the race. I still wanted to try, even though I knew it was going to be really tough with the weather. I still thought, okay, I'm just going to give it my best shot and see how it goes. And even during the race, yeah, I didn't want to quit. I was going to finish the race, and I thought I'll just try and stay under the 3 hour and 45 minutes, which was my PR in Chicago. And getting past 32K, also the pace group for 3 hours and 30 minutes, which started right next to me in Corral B. They passed me by, and I knew that, yeah, there was no way even for me to keep up with them and come in with a PR, which is really strange because in Chicago I looked around, I filmed, I ran intervals, and yeah, I came in at 3:45, and now I actually try to stay on pace, try to come in a lot faster, and I came in at 3 hours 50 minutes and 51 seconds. Which was very disappointing. I was very disappointed when I got to the finish. Actually, the last 10 kilometers of the race, I was already very disappointed. I didn't want to be at the race anymore. I had a hard time finishing the race just because of that. Not just because it was tough physically, but it was also tough mentally because of that last part where I knew I wasn't going to BQ, and I even wasn't going to PR. So yeah, I made it for a very tough race, not just because of the weather, but yeah, I had set my sights on that BQ goal. The weather has been around 10, 12 degrees for months now. The past 2 months that I've been training, it's been cold weather, and now just a week before the marathon, the weather got a little bit warmer, and the hottest day was the day of the marathon. I knew there was a chance of that when I signed up, but seeing that the whole time the weather had been so cold, we haven't had much of a spring. Yeah, it was a bit of a bummer that precisely on the day when we had the marathon, the weather was the hottest that we've had it so far. So what's next? I'm not really sure. I have until September 1st to qualify for Boston, but yeah, that's during the summer. So every race from now on is going to be during warm weather, and it's only going to get warmer probably. I've been looking for other races, races that I have to travel for, but yeah, most places in Europe it's going to be warm in July or August. So I'm not really sure how that's going to go, but yeah, it looks like I might have to wait until next year to try and qualify for 2026. What I did find out, which to me right now seems to be the only plus from this race, is that I know I can run a marathon and not have pain in my knees. My knees actually feel fine. I have no pain in my knees. I didn't have any pain during the race. I had pain in my foot for some reason. There was something in my shoe. I stopped around 26K because I felt something cutting in my foot. I couldn't find anything, so I kept running the whole race. It was hurting my foot. I thought there might be a cut in my foot or something there, a blister. But yeah, once I got my shoes off after the race, there was nothing there. So I don't know what actually caused that feeling. My Achilles heel, my Achilles tendon was hurting me before the race already. I taped it in with rocket tape. It was fine during the race, but it's always been fine during running because it's warmed up then. I couldn't walk the day after the race. It was so painful. It's getting a little bit better now, but yeah, it's something that I have to be careful with the next couple of weeks to take it easy a little bit with my training. But my knees are fine, and I'm really happy to find that out because I did do a lot of walking breaks, but not nearly as many as I would do with running intervals. So yeah, I'm happy to find out that I can run a marathon without my knees giving in on me. Another thing that I found out that the short time that I had between the Tokyo Marathon and the Leiden Marathon, I had 2 months, and the first 2 weeks of that I was recovering still from Tokyo. So in that short amount of time, I increased my speed considerably, and I found out that the things that I'm doing, they're working. They're making it easier for me to run at a higher speed. And I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to try and get even faster than I'm running now. I recently ran a 5K under 20 minutes. Now I've done that before, but it's been years. It's been years that I was able to do that. And now I got there within that 2 months period. So I'm going to continue my training and working on my speed. Because yeah, I still have to be Q. I still have to try and do it somewhere else, and whether that's going to be this summer or it's going to be in the fall or next year, I'm going to work towards that and work on my speed for whenever I'm going to need it. Yeah, right now I don't have any other races booked except for the Walt Disney World Dopey Challenge, the marathon weekend there. So that's my next marathon for now. I'd like to plan something else in the fall, if not to BQ, then maybe just to find a nice race that I want to run. That was just the other thing about the Leiden Marathon. I never actually wanted to run the marathon, and now I ran the whole race just focused on running fast. Normally I get to enjoy the race. I enjoy the journey towards the marathon. I enjoy the atmosphere, the people, the runners, the interaction, the sights, the filming, just the whole event. And now everything just kind of passed me by because I was just so focused on my pace, on the road, on my watch. I didn't even notice where we were running. I have no clue where we were, what we saw on the road. So there was no real enjoyment. There's no fulfillment from the race. When I got to the finish, normally it's an emotional moment where, it's just everything comes together, and the race is over, but it's also an accomplishment. And this time I was disappointed. I got to the finish, I got my medal, but yeah, I didn't reach my goal, and that satisfying feeling that you get from the marathon wasn't there this time. So I was a bit bummed out, and I felt really disappointed and a little bit depressed afterwards. And I know people send me messages saying, "Oh yeah, but you did run the marathon, and seeing the circumstances, you did really great." I know that. I know I ran another marathon, and it's a great accomplishment. It's just, yeah, I didn't reach the goal that I set out for, and that makes it disappointing. But we're looking forward now, other races to sign up for, other things to train for, new experiences, I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, and when I'm going to have a chance to try and qualify for Boston again. But we're going to keep training, keep working on it, and until next time, get out there and run.